In this video, I want to consider whether the Leica SL2-S that I've been testing out could be a worthy successor to my Canon EOS R that I'm filming on right now, instead of cameras like the Canon R5, R6, or whatever Sony brings out next. Well, on a practical level, I would like 2 card slots again. I would like to have IBIS. And I want to get into a system with 2 cameras, so I can have a B cam and an A cam for video, or I can have a spare camera should something go wrong with one of them. So why am I not sure about sticking with Canon? Well, it really comes down to the overheating issues that have been really well publicized with the R5 and R6 when filming in certain video settings for certain durations and certain temperatures. Given that I film most small projects on my hybrid cameras and not something like the Blackmagic Pocket series, that does concern me. And compared to other lens manufacturers, the Canon lens catalogue is growing very slowly and doesn't yet have staples like a 35mm L equivalent without adapting older lenses. So with all that in mind, I took the Leica SL2-S for a test drive from my local Leica store and used it on a portrait shoot. I got the new 24-70 with it and got to test it out in one of my typical bits of work. It's not an exhaustive test, but it was enough for me to decide for myself. And I should say, before we get into the pros and cons, that I was going into this test really wanting to like the SL2-S. Let's start with what I did like about the SL2-S. Firstly, to me, this is a good looking camera. Clean lines, minimal design, it's Leica all over. Thankfully, the image quality is just as refined as the design, and even when combined with a zoom lens, left nothing to be desired for a 24 megapixel camera. And at 2.8, it might be the best zoom I've personally tried. The viewfinder 2 is a clear upgrade from my EOS R, and it looks noticeably larger and sharper in use. The menus and the user interface look very nice and quite unlike any other camera menus I've ever used, but this is where we start to get a little bit negative. Though it certainly looks nice, in practice the menu is similarly inconsistent to other manufacturers' menus, and worse in some ways. None of the items are touch sensitive, and menu navigation seems to work best with the focus joystick, which I'm not a massive fan of. That focus joystick is really the only unsatisfying ergonomic point to an otherwise very tactile camera. There's no flippy screen on the Leica to film like I'm filming now, but to be honest, the app is a good workaround in this particular scenario. The body and the lens are tough and well made, but almost to a fault. It certainly makes the camera sturdy in the hand, but it makes it far heavier than I'm used to and far heavier than I would want. And the body's angular edges can be uncomfortable in certain shooting holds. And though the image quality was very good, it wasn't any better or worse than my EOS R in this scenario, and I certainly don't think it would be better than an R5 or R6 in the real world. The autofocus, though accurate, behaved in a way that didn't inspire confidence during the shooting. It had to reacquire focus through subtle pulsing as I shot, and this was a stark contrast to the confidence of the EOS R and the Canon dual pixel AF. Finally, and this is more of a future point, Leica doesn't really get any support from companies like Profoto or Godox or Small Rig for cages, and that is a massive downside. The camera can be as good as it wants, but if it's harder to achieve basic things because other manufacturers don't see the point in making specific Leica accessories, then that just makes my life as a photographer harder, not easier. Sadly, I don't think it's for me. As a tool for my work that I have to invest my own money into, I can't see how this would be a better choice compared to an R6, or even an R5 by paying a tiny bit more. To my eyes, the image quality on the SL2-S is no better than any of its peers, and if you really care about video, you'd probably be better off renting an actual video camera like a Blackmagic camera and upping the image quality that way. Especially when you consider that if you shopped around, you could probably buy yourself a used hybrid camera and a Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro for the asking price of this Leica SL2-S kit. Don't get me wrong, this is a lovely camera, and if budget were really no concern, I would just have one of these lying around, just to use, to enjoy for what it is. But as it stands, I don't see how it justifies its higher cost over its peers in the ways that matter to me. But what do you think? Do you shoot with the Leica SL2-S? Do you want to shoot with the Leica SL2-S and think I'm totally wrong? Let me know in the comments. Let's start a discussion about very expensive cameras that don't necessarily compete on spec. And either way, I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.